The NBA sets a new rule that the Bulls may benefit from as far as resting your star players. We're going to talk about that new rule, how it's going to affect some teams that have already been labeled as having multiple stars, which the Bulls are on that list. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Right off the top, if you want to follow the show, you can do so at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And first up, we're going to be talking about the NBA's new rule. So the NBA has come out with a new rule about resting players. Now this, we found out a couple of days ago that the NBA's board was set to vote on this. Well, voting went through. The rule is now a law. And so in regards to it, basically it's a rule against teams resting multiple star players on nationally televised games and then in general as well. And so, Adam Silver saying this, I think there's an acknowledgement across the league that we need to return to that principle that this is an 82-game league. I think that there's a statement of principle that if you're a healthy player in this league, the expectation is that you're going to play. And so, there's been a lot of resting, right? Load management has become a thing and a buzzword over, the NBA in the last couple of years, and we've been seeing players rest a lot. And so, it also comes to this is that an all-star, all-NBA player in the last three, if you've been named as an all-star or an all-NBA player in the last 3 years, then you're labeled as a star player, which means that the Bulls have 3 star players. According to that rule, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic are subject to these resting rules. And so the teams can be fined. They can be fined up to $1 million after their third time of doing it. And so, you're going to see less players being rested. And so, that helps the product, of course. That does also help the enjoyments of fans, especially more casual fans. And so the Bulls were one of 5 teams listed as having multiple star level players, at least 3, right? And so the Bulls with DeMar, Zach, and Vooch, the Cavs with Mitchell, Garland, and Jared Allen, the Suns with Durant, Booker, and Bradley, the Timberwolves with Cat, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley, and the Warriors with Steph, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. Is interesting that Klay Thompson isn't part of that ruling, right? But when it's all said and done, so now there can be exceptions to this, right? So the exception is that the league will allow teams to submit written requests in advance for older players for back-to-back games. This is a small pool of players who are either 35 or older at the start of the season and have played in over 3,400 regular season minutes or 1,000 games in their career. So, with that said, DeMar DeRozan would technically, qualify for that. So, Bulls maybe have a potential to rest them, even though I don't see DeMar DeRozan as being a player that they want to rest, or Billy Donovan wanting to rest DeMar DeRozan. But you know what? We'll see, man. We'll end up seeing. But how this rule can change the game of basketball, I think it can't do nothing but make it better. It's, again, this is not a rule to say that if a player has a legitimate injury that they have to play. And so, they'll still be able to sit. So if you have something legitimate, you're still going to be able to sit those games, whether they're nationally televised or not. But if you're healthy and fully ready to go, the NBA is going to expect you on that court. And like I said, for the fan part of it, I see the rule as it helps the overall game of basketball. And then when you also look at something like Adam Silver in the midseason tournament that he's, he's really heralded, and now that's going to be in place this season, they want everybody healthy, ready to go for the full 82. And so, how that changes the game of basketball, we'll end up seeing, right? There, as I said over on Locked On Bulls when we talked about this, to my knowledge and in everything that's been released, there's nothing to say yet that, it's a number of minutes you have to play, though. So, we could see that be the workaround, right? As far as not outright resting players, but as far as sitting out games, but you could see their minutes cut if and that become the new type of load management, right? So do not be surprised if you see some star players play, 18, 20 minutes a game where they usually play 28, 31 minutes a game. And that may be how load management starts becoming a thing in the NBA instead of just outright sitting players. Now, let me know what you guys think. I want to hear from you guys down below on this one and how you feel about the new rule. Do you think this is really going to change much in the NBA? I think it's going to change a little, especially initially, but I do think that eventually coaches and front offices, they're going to adapt and they're just going to start cutting minutes. And so unless the NBA plans on dictating how many minutes a player has to play, there's always going to be a workaround. So, and Pat made the joke, Pat the designer made the joke over on Locked On Bulls that we're going to see like Greg Popovich check a player in for 5 minutes and be like, yep, you're done, sit. And so, we'll see when that stuff starts happening. Not that egregious, right? But when, the minutes start getting cut, how the NBA then, responds to that. But, going into the next topic that I wanted to talk about is Giannis Antetokounmpo. So he keeps talking about this and, it keeps stirring up. Recently, he was on a podcast. He was being interviewed by Bleaves 48 Minutes. And he said this: as long as we play and we approach the game the right way every single day and we sacrifice for the common goal, I can see myself being a Milwaukee Buck for the rest of my career. But the moment I feel like people are not as committed as I am to get that golden thing in the back, I'm not. I'm a Milwaukee Buck, but most importantly, I'm a winner. I want to win, and I have to do whatever it takes. And if there's a better situation for me to win the Larry O'Brien trophy, I have to take that situation. And so, I respect the mindset in the stance that Giannis Antetokounmpo is taking with this. Not one that be it of being dramatic or anything like that, but one being of, I'm going to go to the situation that best helps my career. I want to play for titles. I want to play for championships. Not even necessarily saying I want to play for prestige, which is a thing that a lot of Bulls fans then will go to say, oh, well, we clearly have the best situation for Giannis. No. Like, if he wants to go to the best situation that's going to win him a title, the Bulls got some serious work to do before we can even say that the Bulls will be in a place for Giannis's best opportunity and chance to win a title being in the Chicago Bulls jersey. Now, would I love Giannis to come to Chicago? Absolutely. But I'm also a realist, right? And I also tell you guys all the time, I'm not going to be someone that just says something because I know it's going to stir up Bulls fans. It's going to get everybody excited and get everybody's hopes up. The chances of Giannis Antetokounmpo coming to Chicago with the state that the Chicago Bulls are right now are basically none. Let's just be clear. It's basically none. To say that he wants to go to the best situation that's going to give him a chance to win a title, look at the Chicago Bulls. Be realistic with yourself no matter how optimistic. I am one of the most optimistic Bulls fans you guys will find consistently, right? I tell you guys all the time. Rome wasn't built in a day. The Bulls are going to be okay, right? With stuff like that. But like to say that we would offer any player the best chance to win a title, we are so far from that. We don't even know if this team, now I have faith that they will, we don't even know if this team is in a place right now to be able to avoid the play-in tournament. And so because of that, we got some work to do. Now, what could help the Bulls' chances in that, right? Of course, a couple of the young players hitting a leap, not just a step, a leap. I mean a leap would absolutely help that, especially if it's some of the young players that haven't gotten or are still in their rookie scale deals. And the reason why is because it allows for more cap flexibility for you to build out the rest of the roster. Because Giannis, if he were to come to Chicago theoretically, in whatever case that we try to paint here, he would take up so much of the cap space that you want to make sure that you have young players that are promising, that are still on decent deals. But like I said before, I always have to be realistic and I always have to be real. And I know it sometimes Bulls fans get on me for it, but like the chances of Giannis coming here are low. And you can hang on that clip that was posted of him just saying he always dreamt of playing in a Bulls uniform. And you never know what may happen in the future. People have taken that now to mean and try to turn it into the thing where he said he always wanted to be a Bull. He said that he dreamt of himself playing in a Bulls uniform. With the age that he grew up in, everybody around that age thought of themselves in a Bulls uniform at some point in time. Like, come on, man. Let's be realistic in what we talking about, bruh. Like, let's be realistic. You guys know I always try to be that. Like, but hey, I do hope, and I even have a video on the channel, right? I talked about it. Are the Bulls setting themselves up to make their next big move in free agency in 2025? Yes, I absolutely feel that they do, and they're probably going to make a pitch at every big free agent that's on the market at that time. But specifically with what the criteria that Giannis Antetokounmpo has laid out with his repeated statements that have all been along the same lines, the Bulls got a tall test and a big order ahead of them before they could potentially get to that point. Now, can they? Will they? that remains to be seen, right? But, the Bulls are set to have sizable cap space that same year, which is one of the steps that you need to do. But then you also have to improve your roster. And by that, you have to hope, unless you're planning on trading for a star, right? You have to hope that one of these young players are going to really hit that leap. And I mean a absolutely huge leap for it to get to that point. And, nothing's outside of the realm of possibility. You guys know I am still very optimistic about a lot of the young talent with the Chicago Bulls that the Chicago Bulls have, and we'll end up seeing what that turns into. Heck, the whole episode yesterday was talking about the young talent on this team. And so, I do think that growth is going to come. But is it going to be enough? That's the biggest question. That's going to be something that we're going to be watching over the next 2 seasons, right? Because if by chance the Patrick Williams does hit that leap, by chance Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, right, or Kobe takes his game to another step, and they make the change from being nice young players with potential to borderline stars, if that does happen, God forbid if all 3 of them do, then that drastically changes things for the Chicago Bulls. Drastically changes it. But we have to be realistic. As of what we've seen right now, doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But at least not in that time frame, right? But you never know. You just never know. A lot of people are confident. They've talked about P. Will. Reportedly, a lot of the Bulls players as well are in Chicago now. They went out on a team outing yesterday. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they went on a team outing yesterday. Looks like they went to an arcade yesterday all together as a team. So, shout out to that. And we know that this team gets along, right? We know that this team enjoys each other, that this team actually likes each other as people. But we need to see more on the basketball court. And if it comes by one of those young players making a step, or heck, Zach LaVine refining his game even more and becoming a consistent, just top 5 player in the league scoring wise and some other things, right? That could change the outlook. But I think right now, rather than just focus on the Giannis part of it, the Bulls are set up to have sizable cap space in 2025. If they maintain that, and we'll see if they do that with whatever they do with the future assets. But overall, the Bulls, if they put themselves in that position and bring in talent to this roster, even if it's not Giannis Antetokounmpo, let's hope that they make the right decisions. And that, it's not like the summer that we got DeMar and got Lonzo, and then that kind of all got derailed by Lonzo's injury. Let's hope and pray that if the Bulls do make that move in 2025, the summer of 2025, whatever talent they bring in is talent that we see stick around for a while and is able to stay healthy and really get this team to the level that we all really want to see. We all want to see the Chicago Bulls team be back to a team that's a perennial playoff team, that be back to a team that we have faith is going to be able to make it out the first round and make it interesting and fight with all the other teams in the league. Like, we want to see that, and we deserve to see that as Bulls fans, right? We all deserve to see it. And let's hope that AK and Eversley are making the proper moves to get us there sooner rather than later. But that's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.